So in my storytelling playlist today, I'm going to go a little bit, I don't want to say astray, but this is kind of a few small, tiny stories with an overarching question, let's say. So the title of this is Realm, Planet, or Simulation. And if you know anything about my channel, you know that most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, I kind of prescribe to a Gnostic worldview. But with that said, I kind of also believe in kind of a Taoist worldview. So a little bit of both. But when it comes to the idea of a realm, and when it comes to the idea of illusion and delusion, I definitely have a Gnostic worldview. So if you want to know anything about that, you can check out my top 10 Gnostic films video, and I have several other Gnostic videos on this playlist. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because I've had some experiences in my life that have questioned my idea of where I live, my realm, our realm, I should say. In classical philosophy, there's this idea of the nous. I think I'm saying that right. Might be wrong. Nous. And what that is the cosmic equivalent to the human mind. I think of it as like the world behind the world, or the mind behind the mind. So in this video, I'm going to talk about a few incidents that had me sort of challenging what I've been told through my life. So both of these things happened to me when I was on psychedelics, both of these experiences. So, take that with a grain of salt, but basically what happened is they just shattered the worldview that most people agree upon. So ever since those moments, I've been questioning where I live. We're told through the media and through school, through classes, we live in a certain place. Well, let me tell you these experiences and then we'll get into that. So my first one was, or I should preface it by saying this. I've done psychedelics many times, so both of these experiences were not my early experiences with the psychedelics, so it was a bit later. But I understand that when you're in a psychedelic state, it's kind of like a hallucination, or it's an altered state of consciousness. So in this first story, I'm at college. I went to college later, in my early 30s. So I was talking to two friends. I had these two friends, and they had never done psychedelics before, and I had done them several times. And so we kind of had this plan to do them, and we got some, and we did it. And most of the experience was kind of your run-of-the-mill, typical psychedelic experience. But nearing the end of the night, we were outside chatting and looking up at the stars, and I just looked and I was like, what the hell? And all the stars were where they're supposed to be. It was a very clear night because this was in Portland, Oregon, which has very clear skies. And all the stars just started moving out of their positions, and they started like almost looking like minnows kind of darting around, and they were all doing it. And I said, holy crap, look at that. And I looked up, I motioned my friends to look up, and they saw the same thing. Now, that could have been a mass hallucination. It could have been us breaking through the illusion. It could have been some kind of intervention by the gods. I'm not sure. But the strange thing about it is all three of us saw it. And it wasn't just for a second, it like lasted a while. And we were just in awe of this anomaly. So that was the first experience. The second experience, I was in Vietnam with a friend, and we went to this kind of full moon party thing that they have in Southeast Asia. Usually they have them in Thailand, but they were having one in Vietnam. And it's on the beach, and you're kind of hanging out and stuff. And we went there, and again, we were on psychedelics. And we weren't really like getting on with the other people at the party, so we're kind of off to the side a little. And one of the reasons that this was a party is it was the eclipse. So many people were there to see the eclipse. It wasn't the one you needed glasses for. It was a lunar eclipse. But we're standing there watching it start to happen. And, you know, it goes like this. And then you would think it would just pass by, right? But it comes to the actual eclipse, and then it starts going the other direction. And we're like, what is going on? Because it should be going full. I never heard of anything going retrograde that way, or, you know, this didn't make any sense to me from what I knew of science. So, of astronomy. So that was very strange. And again, both of us saw it. We were both commenting on it. Yeah, could be a hallucination. I don't know. But my point in saying this is because in the Gnostic worldview, part of the point of it is to break through the illusion. And I believe that those two experiences, along with other ones, were like a little crack, you know, and I kind of saw like what is the reality of it. Now, I've mentioned this in another video, but the Mandela effect is another way that you might crack through. If you don't know anything about the Mandela effect, here's a few images. But it basically means that things change. The way people remember them changes. I guess what I'm getting at is after those two experiences, I started looking at everything very differently. It's almost like in my waking life, not my psychedelic life or, you know, even in my sleeping life, I'm trying to kind of notice these things more. And by doing that, I've done a lot of research and things into ancient ways people used to think about reality or the realm we live in. I've come across lots of information by a lot of different people. If you want to go down a really deep rabbit hole, but I warn you, it might blow your mind. You might think it's ridiculous. Depends on maybe where you are in your life. But if you check out Eric Dubay on YouTube or BitChute someplace, you might be surprised. He gets deleted a lot, so who knows if he'll be there, but you can usually find either people uploading his stuff or re-uploading it or his new account, let's say. But the point I'm making is that, you know, in the modern world, everyone is constantly talking about a simulation, right? This simulation hypothesis, which I feel like is a bit of a trend. When you really think about it, it's not that different than Plato's allegory of the cave or the kind of Taoist butterfly dream idea, if you know what that is. I'm not going to get into what it is. If you want to look it up, go ahead and look it up. There's this idea of an artificial versus natural simulation. Most people, because we live in a digital age, they think that we might be in some kind of computer simulation. But I don't think that's the case because it obviously predates computers and it doesn't make sense to me. I think it's a natural simulation that was created supernaturally, let's say. But I'm open to new information whenever it comes. But I will say I lean towards us living in a realm as opposed to a simulation or a planet. I don't know. I think that your reality is based off your perception, and if you have things that challenge your perception, then you have to reassess what your view is. And in this case, I had two really strange experiences. And I don't know, we'll see if I have any more. But that's about all I have for today. Take care.